Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I don't have free beer, so really hard to follow that up, but hopefully you'll like it either way. I'm Eric Marcarian. I'm representing Scaled By. So when we think of the Air Force, think of F-35s, F-22s, unmanned aircraft, really cutting edge stuff. Air power, anytime, anywhere. Command and control, we have the cyber areas. According to world population reviews, by far the US Air Force has thousands of more aircraft than our next closest competitor. The most technologically advanced and powerful fleet in the world. I joined the Air Force, the reserves, in 2010 after I was already working at Lockheed Martin. A lot of influence around there, and it seemed like a good addition to my skill set. And I am a jet engine mechanic, so have been the whole time, ever since 2010. In 2020, I went on a deployment, and due to my rank at that time, at this, going up, leadership history and going up the ranks, I was assigned the role of a flight line expediter. This is kind of a leadership role. You're in production. And I did that while I was in the Middle East. There's a picture out there in an undisclosed location. So if you don't know, is anybody, any of our judges aware of Air Force flight line expediters or production? Okay, so I'll go through that a little bit. The flight line expediter is the person who's out there and make sure the aircraft get launched on time. They bring the personnel there. They make sure the equipment's in place. They do all the pre-checks and build the schedules and make sure that the flights get off the ground and meet their mission. And also when they land and we do recovery, we want to make sure that they get turned around and ready for their next flight. So it's all about tracking times, making sure that if there's issues that pop up, we've all been on those flights where issue comes up and you're waiting, should you wait there or should we deboard the plane? That kind of situation for the aircrew. What I didn't know with this cutting edge Air Force is that the tools of the trade are a pencil, and you better have a good eraser on the pencil, a clipboard, as exampled there, with really bad photocopies that get worse and crooked over time, and a walkie-talkie, and then a vehicle to drive around. Now, I have a video there. I don't think that that's going to work today, but I have a picture later on that kind of depicts a little bit more about what the environment is like. But tracking times, making sure that people are out at the right aircraft, and there could be all of them lined up just like this, right? So they're all in a row. There could be dozens of rows. This could be a mile-long flight line ramp where the aircraft are parked and ready to go. And here's me down here in my truck with my walkie-talkie. And here's all the other people I have to work with, all my other peers. We have the crew chiefs. They get the aircraft ready and do basic maintenance. We have specialists up there in their building, and that's funny. I just made it a joke. It's a nice building. Usually they get the nice stuff. A little veteran joke there. But we have the maintenance operations center, all these other support teams. And we all have radios and trucks, and that's how we get around and communicate. So an issue with a jet, one aircraft, and these aren't jets, but one aircraft with two issues, just two issues, a dead power cart, the generator that provides the power to get it started, perhaps, and maybe a GPS system goes bad. This is what it looks like. The coordination, the radio calls, the transfers, the pickups, the drop-offs, the go check out, what's the status, drive back. Hey, are you done? Are you close to done? How much more time do you need? This jet took off, okay, radio that into the maintenance operations center, radioed into the ATO desk so they know that that's complete and they can all do the feedback and make sure that they're gonna meet the target, or if in my case, aerial refueling, make sure that they're gonna be able to deliver that fuel to the jets that are out there that need it at that time. So a lot of coordination, that's one jet. Here are some of the forms I would have to fill out. Now this would all be hand-filled. So on the left would be a schedule I would get for the day, and this is saying, okay, we're gonna have 15 aircraft take off on my shift, just on my shift, and I have 24-hour operations. Here's the times that the crew's going to be there, and there's the takeoff times. My job then is to find out which crew chiefs are available. I have to go around, actually say, okay, you're here, you're here. Who are you again? You know, there's tons of people coming in and out, especially deployed. Jot down their names, put them in the schedule manually, make sure that the takeoff of that time means that they're done and they can get to the next jet. And I'm doing that all manually, every day, 24 hours a day around the world. This is what's happening right now. There's a form I would have to fill out if there's an issue. If there's an issue on a jet, what was the issue? When did I call them? When did the team arrive to fix the issue, the specialists, and you know, what was the aircraft, the tail number, what was the shop? Again, all handwritten. I have it, you know, printed digital here, but this is all on the clipboard. And that really is for the blame game later on, aircrew versus maintainers, who caused the delays. And then if things get really crazy and they can't fix the issue quickly, I have another tracker. This is all this info on here, the name of the person who's fixing it, the shop that they're from. They're from all over the world, people come in. What's their home unit station? What's their personnel number? And what is the discrepancy? And I have to radio that all in on the one channel to the operations center. So not ideal. It doesn't scale very well. So when you have more and more aircraft in a situation like this with jets, a bunch of A-10s out here, imagine 2 aircraft taking off at the same time, 3 with a problem, and trying to drive and use the radios to communicate between 3, 4 different aircraft taking off and landing all within the same time and trying to get stuff done. There's additional roles. It's a production superintendent. They're ultimately in charge of making the decision whether they're going to fly that aircraft or take a different aircraft because they can't fix the problem on time. Shop specialist, this was me, my previous role. I was the engine mechanic specialist in charge. Make sure I have people scheduled with the right skill levels. You don't want to put an apprentice type level with another apprentice. They're going to have a problem there when an issue pops up. So I'd schedule, make sure the team's all by myself. I'd have to make sure my shop is scheduled appropriately. And then the maintenance operations officer, this is the person in charge, you know, reports to the commander, in charge at the end of the day of all the missions being accomplished, maintenance getting done, and the personnel having a good climate, not having issues. So a bunch of other additional roles that are important in this process. So all the problems that I just described to you, all that kind of background is just to go over the problems and get you familiar with. So we know it's time consuming, right? If there's a schedule change on my handwritten schedule, I've got to erase, scribble out, and redo all the rest of the personnel assigned to the rest of the day. And very time consuming. I have to go tell that person, find them and tell them, hey, your shift changed. Because there's nowhere for them to find that out if I don't tell them or radio to them. Unsecure, we're talking on open radio still. You know, easily intercepted. Anyone can tap into that channel. And then that also leads to people wanting to just use today's modern technology, applications, WhatsApp, text messaging, Facebook Messenger. We don't want that, right? That's another security risk. And so this also, there's a lot of subjectivity. A lot of this is based on experience, how much experience the person has. They're not using data. They don't have any data to make decision making out there. It's based on what they know, who they see out there. I don't think that person does good work. I'm not going to trust their word for it. This person's great. I'm going to trust what they say. And they don't have the data, and because that data that I'm recording out there as that expediter role, or whoever's doing that expediting role, it's all handwritten. I don't have the time to type it in to an Excel or an Access database or whatever. I might type that in, and that's prone to errors, and nobody has time to do that. And so at the end of the week, all that data that I just captured, the flight late takeoffs and maintenance issues, and which team was assigned the maintenance issues, and how long did it take, it gets shredded. It's thrown out. And so this whole thing's inefficient. Also, I mentioned the dead batteries. The batteries die. Somebody forgets the tool. You know, the tools. The copiers break. We're out of ink. I don't know if you've been on an Air Force base. The technology. There's always printer issues and ink issues, and we don't even, you know, who orders it even. Right? Teams, and again, part of that is teams are coming in and out every few months, replacing the entire crew. Noisy, windy, so. The other thing too with the data loss that I also want to point out that I forgot is, on radio calls, once you make that call, it's gone. There's no log, there's no audit log or traceability. It's gone in the air. So radios are, again, another risk. So my background, process improvements, my entire professional career, Kaizens, I work with big data, visualizations, Python scripts, making processes better. Worked at Lockheed Martin for over 10 years and got Green Belt certified, Six Sigma, Lean, all my entire training. Fraud analytics lead, I have an accounting degree from Syracuse and my MBA from Northeastern. So again, learning best practices and process improvement. And then I go work in that environment and my head's literally spinning at the opportunities to improve. And they don't know. They really don't have any idea what's possible with a little bit of work. So I came up with a solution when I got back. I called up, called a couple of people, other people I messaged and emailed my network and said, explain the situation. They agreed and said, yep, let's team together and come up with a solution. That solution is flight line data collection automation and predictive analytics, FD Kappa. First step, no matter if we did any other steps going forward, this is the most important step, is getting the data input digitally, capturing it. From there, you can do all these other things with it. So the first part of the solution is an actual digital input form. iPads are actually now being adopted in most locations, and if they're not, they will be soon. So getting all of the clipboard forms into an application basis with drop downs, error corrections. I can't tell you how many times I couldn't read somebody's handwriting if they passed the schedule over to me and I take over the next shift. I mean, you can't even see read the numbers sometimes, and there's scribbles and notes. So getting that digital, standardizing the data inputs, making the data clean, and capturing it for future use. And with that input app, no more radios. I input it, everybody has access to see live updates on the app. So make a joke that on Amazon, right, you could buy, they sell everything. You could buy a spatula, a kitchen spatula, and I would know it's 10 doors away from me right now for like a $3 item. But out on the flight line, doing maintenance, I couldn't tell you where our aircraft are unless I drive over to the aircraft and ask the guy who's turning wrenches and find out where are you at for, it was going to be half an hour, an hour. Am I going to make a takeoff time for a real world mission critical assignment? That scares me. So definitely need this input app. From there you can do everything you would imagine, right? Summary dashboards for the commander. The commander can come in and see what happened during the day. What shop is getting utilized the most? So we would have just the dashboard you expect as a senior leader to be able to make decisions and figure out what happened for the day and what problems do I need to be aware of. We'd have a staffing engine. This would tell all the specialist shops who are just guessing when they first get there, who do I need on night shift, who do I need on day shift, what's their skill level. Some people have special certifications. You can run a forklift. You can't run a forklift. You can use a bore scope, a camera that looks inside the engine. This person cannot use it. This one can. The staffing engine would take all these inputs from the roster and would automatically assign and say, this is your best schedule for your personnel based on the flying schedule, the break rates, and your shop's utilization. It would stop me from also having to guess at who I can fit into the next flight launch. And then we have the pro, super, go, no go model. I'm going to rush through just because I'm getting a little bit low on time, but this would be, there's a book that says whether you can fly the aircraft or not. The production superintendent's a senior position out there. They would look in the book and it would tell them, can't fly it, you can fly it. This would just automatically tell you based on the input conditions from the Expediter app. So. And then finally, predictive maintenance. If I have all the aircraft break rates from the data input, and I know how long these parts are running, the mean time before failure, I can start to tell the supply shop, have this part in order. We've had, This number of them required. These aircraft have not had that part replaced yet. I assume that they will need to be replaced soon. Go ahead and order that part now and have it ready to go. Predictive maintenance. Here's what it would look like in a process flow. So all the stuff on the top are those manual inputs. The flight schedule comes from operations, missions, operations. The issue log tracker I had, they call it the red belt tracker, the emergency jobs tracker, and then the deviations where I'm doing the math on how long did we miss a takeoff by and whose fault was it. Those are all these forms that go into there. And they go into a cloud database as the ideal solution. We're working on another solution as well, that if they don't want to adopt cloud because they just don't have access to it or security reasons, we can do some offline stuff. It's just not ideal. From that data storage, though, wherever you want to store it, you can build these other phase 2, 1B through 3 that I had just mentioned. So here's some examples. We've already started mocking up and doing some prototyping of the iPad app, taking all the forms through there and digitizing them with drop downs and checkboxes and sending alerts to the other teams. Times get input, again, just with, you can quickly choose time now, and it would enter the time now into all the flight steps. So the benefits, I'm not going to read all these off, but communications, obviously all these processes brought together, cohesive, one platform for everybody, getting out of the radio, making it more secure. The end results of all this, the most important part, is that we're going to have fewer failed missions. The result is you're going to get the repairs done quicker, and you're going to, whether that's fuel getting offloaded or a target struck or a search and rescue that needs to get off the ground, that's going to happen. A little bit on the overview now on the market. Here's another team member, Trenton. We're out. So we had a great opportunity to get direct customer feedback from the Air Force. I submitted a proposal, a white paper to AFWorks, which is the innovation hub of the Air Force. They partner specifically with commercial solutions. So I went that avenue, submitted a proposal for their operations challenge. Over 80 personnel from that government, from around the world, generals, colonels, Pentagon officials, procurement officials, reviewed these submittals. We were picked in the top 53 out of 274 submittals. And that opened us, now we're in the approved, we have a contracting vehicle, CSO, that can award us money. We're now vetted within their system through this year. With that, I also had a great opportunity to get their feedback. So they provided a scorecard. In the relevance and impact section, we got a 4.7 out of 5 and a 4 out of 5. They want this product. We were there face to face at that expo. They wanted to see it. They wanted it now. That's the problem. They want it already commercial. Speed of deployment of 3.3. Not ready to go. We're in the prototyping phase. So that was the drawback. But invaluable feedback. When can we have it? That's what they keep asking. So when can they have it? Based on this schedule, if we get the funding and begin development in July from our developer input, we can have it done in 5 months. So we start in July, work with the MacDill partnership in Tampa, where I'm based out of in the reserves. My leadership's already been briefed on it. They want to do something and help me out to do prototyping at MacDill, have it ready to go in November to install on one of the iPads and have the expediter there, the same role that I did deployed, have that role that's in MacDill, test it out. From there, getting feedback, we want to secure additional funding to take the feedback, work it into an alpha test, and then a beta test, and then eventually the final release to MacDill. During that time, we will be working with other bases. They've already opened up connections with other partners, other commanders from other bases. And so we would then, by November of 2023, hopefully start working at the additional base where we would begin charging as well. So looks like a little bit of a scaling difference between here and my home, but on the left side is the expected path cost, and what you don't see is that would come out to about $80,000. And on the right side is a bit more conservative path of a 6-month timeline, and it's about $107,000. So about $80,000 to $107,000 cost predictions to get the prototype started. So how are we going to get that funding? $10,000 initially from our team. Hopefully from today, this opportunity, if we can get some winnings from Battle of the Pitches, the partnership with McDill through that CSO vehicle that I already have, $50,000. And then once we have that partnership in place and we're seeing good traction, our team would then go and pony up some additional funds once we see that going forward. Okay. Yep, so I'll speed through. Strategy, really just to keep growing through the service, and then our partner nations, inter-service as well, Army, Navy. Fund total potential, we're seeing about $67 million over 10 years of revenue when I add that up on licenses and module activations. Competition's really focused on commercial solutions. There's no military aspect to the number one competitions. They have great products, but they're really focused on end-to-end solutions, and nobody's offering a military-focused product. So here's our team. Renata, software developer. Trenton works in Air Force Analytics and is working in private analytics as well. And then Surab is our data scientist for our predictive section. So in summary, we could be the first movers to put maintenance software in the military, in the Air Force specifically. We have a unique perspective where we have members such as myself and Trenton already the users and with private experience. So that saves a lot of time. And we have connections to all the people who've already told us they want this product, and we're working with them already. So we just need to make it happen. We need to get the funding together, develop the product, and that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the opportunity for questions because of timing. So there's a lot of things I wanted to discuss with you. So there you go.
Apologies for that.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.